What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well. We're getting close to the climax of the raid and how Wano will end. So I think it'll be a perfect time now to talk about what our expectations are going forward. Now, I say our because we got a very special guest today to talk about this topic. I'd like to welcome in Zage to the channel. What's going on, Zage?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. I'm really excited to have you, man. So before we take a deeper dive, let's talk about what's going on recently with the chapters. And what are your thoughts so far about, Momo taking Luffy up to the rooftop, that encounter, and whatnot?
Okay, so Momo actually holding up Onigashima and protecting Wano is something us as the fandom all expected, so that's not that much of a surprise. But to talk about that specifically and just the quality of it, it's a really good thing because it visually shows us how Momo is striving to become a true shogun and a worthy shogun by being able to protect his people from this ticking bomb that is Onigashima. So it's visually represented now, which is a good thing. Show not tell is a big thing in storytelling that is very important. So Momo actually doing that showcase of strength, will, determination from Momo actually doing that feat is amazing. It even kind of like parallels and is very similar to when Odin held up the scabbards in the boiling pots and carrying the dreams and the people that are going to pass on his dreams to the next people that are going to actually fulfill it, which is the Straw Hats led by Luffy. So Momo doing this feat is amazing. Later on I should expect to see him have an encounter with Orochi, true shogun versus false shogun, whatever. I don't know exactly when that's going to happen because maybe it happens after they stop or defeat Kaido, then Momo can have his match with Orochi in front of the people of Wano or whatever, but we'll see how that all concludes. But yeah, what are your thoughts though?
Absolutely. And considering the fact that Orochi only has really one head out of the 8 remaining, it would be fitting for Momo to lay that final blow on Orochi. I also wouldn't put it past him trying to make amends with the Kurozomi clan, to end that cycle of hatred that's been going on for so long. But I'm leaning more towards him, making that finishing blow on Orochi. So I have another question leading up to that. The fact that it's inevitable that he was gonna hold up the island to begin with. Even with him holding up the island, do you think the island will still fall on the capital?
No, I personally don't think that Onigashima would land on the flower capital, mainly because this type of ticking bomb type moment is something that Oda has done in previous arcs. Just for example, Fishman Island with Noah set to land in Fishman Island and destroy it, and with the birdcage that was set to destroy everything in this past and basically kill everyone that knew knowledge of Dofi's identity, his plan, and whatever he was doing there, right? And basically the ticking bomb on Onigashima is basically the exact same concept, so it won't actually follow through. You can argue with the birdcage, it did destroy a lot of it, so it can still happen with Onigashima, and that would be different, mainly because at least with Dressrosa, no one actually got killed because of the birdcage in terms of main people or whatever, right? Or a lot of the civilians did not die, right? I don't even know if anyone died, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just don't think that this ticking bomb of Onigashima will actually set to land there. If it does land anywhere, it just won't be the flower capital. So it can land, it just won't be the flower capital, or Momo just escorts it somewhere else when Kaido is defeated, or when the clouds will stop working, or Lord does a massive room and just teleport everything, which is something that a lot of people have been into, that I've heard as well over the last few months. So yeah, like I said, I don't think that Onigashima would land on the flower capital.
Right. The bomb at Alabasta is another example of that. Pell was able to, the bomb didn't land on Alabasta. So yeah, there is a trend in regards to that. The reason why I bring it up is because because of the opening 23, Dreaming On, where you see Luffy at the bottom of the ocean wakes up to basically a leveled area. So I was under the assumption that could possibly have been the capital after after it falls on the island falls on the capital, and with a mixture of Kaido's maybe blast breath or something like that, because this opening is foreshadowed a lot of things, like Red Rock, for example. him punching through Kaido at the end of the opening. Like I said, him when he fell into the ocean when he was unconscious, and pretty much his voice was still heard, throughout, heard by Law's crew and whatnot. So I just thought, maybe that could have been possible foreshadowing. Maybe that was Mount Fuji. Maybe Momo's able to take that to Mount Fuji. Maybe that would be where the final battle takes place.
That would be cool, because that would be an interesting terrain, I guess, place of fighting for Kaido and Luffy. So that could be interesting. And we haven't been to Mount Fuji, so that's another reason why not have a fight there, or something to do with Mount Fuji there. Maybe the poneglyph is there, who knows. We also haven't been to Kibi as well, so it doesn't hurt to see other places that we haven't visited before in Wano.
So now I want to move on to what Kaido said to Luffy when he said it seems that he can't be Joy Boy either. What are your thoughts on that? Me personally, I think he's dead wrong. Considering the fact that Luffy is prophesized to be Joy Boy. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. Of course, Kaido is obviously wrong about Luffy not being Joy Boy, and there's been set up, I would say, even as far as Marineford, that Luffy would be Joy Boy, maybe even earlier if I'm not aware. And Joy Boy hadn't even been set up, or at least, mentioned by name, right, until Fishman Island. So yeah, 100% Kaido is wrong. And I just think that, Kaido just needs to be proven wrong. And Luffy has to prove that he is able to become Joy Boy through a battle of strength and will. And I do think that his new form that he will get in Wano will be the representation of him becoming Joy Boy, similarly to how Bound Man was the representation of the guardian deity, and how Luffy is acting as the guardian deity of Wano currently, right? Fighting off Kaido, the evil guy. So yeah, of course, Kaido's going to be wrong about Luffy. It just needs to be taken, for Luffy to actually prove it, like I said, through battle of strength and wills.
Absolutely. And to add on to that, this has been a trend with villains in the past. You see where Crocodile, when he stabbed Luffy through his stomach, and he said there are plenty of rookies like you, that talk heavy, that talk a big game. And Luffy obviously proved him wrong with there. Doflamingo questioning whether or not Luffy was guided by fate to defeat him, referencing the will of the D, saying that was nonsense. We still don't know much about the will of D, but in that regard, he inevitably defeated Doflamingo. Lucci, when he mentioned he'll chase Robin through the ends of the earth, and he wasn't able to succeed on his mission. Luffy got in the way of it. It's been a trend in regards to villains basically eating their words per se. And then with Kaido saying that he can't be, that doesn't seem that he can't be Joy Boy either. It kind of brings me to a thought about why he said that. Kaido being an Oni, right? Onis were known as gatekeepers in Japanese mythology, right? Wano's borders are closed, right? Maybe Kaido perceives Joy Boy as someone who always prevails at the end, and the fact that Luffy, keeps losing to him, that probably brought up the notion of why he said that. But the fact that he said that, when he said, when his smile gets bigger in the heat of battle, so maybe he's trying to see if Luffy is indeed Joy Boy. So in our final topic, I guess we can talk about how the raid will end. Obviously, the raid won't end until Kaido dies. We know how he's been captured so many times, still, survived so many executions. He himself has tried to kill himself so many times, and has failed to do so. So unless he dies in this raid is a failure. So I guess my question to you is, how do you see Kaido's downfall taking place?
So Kaido can be defeated in a couple of ways that has been mentioned before, but to quickly piggyback off what you were saying about the need for Kaido to die, which I do agree with, this arc is very different from other arcs where they actually haven't explicitly said they need to kill that particular antagonist. It's never been done until Kaido. They've even made the objective of the raid before the raid started, right? When Kinemon, Ashura, Doji, I think this is when they were actually getting Ashura on board on the alliance, whatever, right? They've explicitly made the objective executing Kaido and Orochi, right? They've mentioned many times in Onigashima that they've intended to kill Kaido, right? Ashura Doji saying that this can't end until Kaido's head has been severed. Other characters in the alliance like Kid and Zoro that have expressed their intentions on killing Kaido. This arc is just completely different. Like you get the point now. That Kaido not dying would just be a little weird. Now, obviously, there's the argument about Kaido wants to die and antagonists don't get what they want, which partly is true. There have been times when that really hasn't been the case. For example, like NL, he wanted to go to the moon, the endless Veriverse, and he got there, right? So he got what he wanted, but specifically what Kaido wants is a grand death, a death that we remembered for Kaido like Whitebeard or Rogers were. But if he's getting killed by the new generation, that will be their legend, not Kaido's. So I don't think that would actually even count as a grand death at all. So yeah, like even if he was to die by the hands of the new generation, I think that is perfectly fine. Now, as to how I think Kaido will be defeated, I think is, only right that Luffy defeats him in a 1v1, especially because of the whole rumor surrounding Kaido and one-on-one. You bet on Kaido and Luffy can disprove that to the world. But the thing which is the biggest thing about Kaido is his so-called immortality and his inability to die despite challenging the Yonko and Marines, the countless executions, so on and so forth, attempts of suicide, whatever, right? And I do think that this person just is the most fitting to do so, and that is Zoro. I mean, really truly, who is more fitting in Onigashima, in the alliance specifically, right? That when you consider the ties to Wano, the whole Ryuma thing, so on and so forth, Enma, stuff like that, right? Let's be honest, if we're going on the assumption that Kaido has to die, who really is more fitting than Zoro to kill him? So that's just kind of my perspective. Luffy defeats him in one-on-one, shows his superiority, and then Zoro kills him. Obviously, I don't have all day to go into the reasonings. I've done past videos. If you're interested, you can go check them out for my reasonings on specifically why I do think Zoro is the most fitting to do so. But yeah, that just basically answers your question.
Yeah, you're right. And I do think there's a confusion, with a lot of people. There's a difference between being defeated and being killed. We all know Luffy's not the kind of guy to kill his opponents as a way to finish them off. That's not his character. That's not how his demeanor. That's not how he moves. Oda himself even said it in the SBS. That's not how he wins his battles. It all playing out, right? Luffy will eventually get his last one-on-one with Kaido. I believe that battle will go to the lengths to where Kaido will be defeated by the hands of Luffy. This is all happening in mid-air. Maybe Luffy passes, Kaido to Zoro as a finishing move, and then Zoro comes in and deals the final move that ends up killing Kaido. I see Kaido having a moment right before that happens. Maybe he dies with a smile on his face, and then he gets beheaded in silhouette over the capital. My question to you is, what move do you think Zoro would use to slay Kaido?
So I know a lot of people like the whole Dragon Blaze idea because of the Ryuma parallel and how that move looks like the move that Ryuma did to slay his dragon, so on and so forth. You get the idea, and how that attack was unsuccessful on the roof, so it could be successful now. That's cool and all, but I just prefer it to be something different, because if this is a new legend that Zoro is going to do, then I think a new move, a new final killing attack, right, would be more fitting. So the move that I'd prefer, that I'd like to see if Zoro is to kill Kaido, would be his strongest three-sword style attack, which is the billion-fold Trichiliocosm, the move that he did to split the golem, right? Pika's massive giant mountain body, right? Yeah, that move. Especially considering in Wano, right? They viewed the three-sword style as somewhat of a joke. The people of Ebisu were laughing when they saw it. They were saying, oh, is this some sort of circus trick? Even Zombie Ryuma, when Zoro told him that he uses three-sword style, thought the same thing. When Hiyori saw Zoro using 3 sword style to defeat Killer, she was shocked. She was like questioning it, like, wait, what? 3 sword style? This is just something unprecedented in Wano. They've never heard of a 3 sword style, so I think that would just be legendary, right? Like a style of swordsmanship that's just been never seen before, and that will be creating a new legend. I think that's just the most fitting. Especially, and also, you know, that's one of my favorite, you know, Zoro attacks as well, so there's a bit of bias there. But yeah, like, the move is cool. I think we can all agree on that.
I like that. I like that a lot. Matter of fact, I want to add on to that. I have a theory out, right, that his Ashura would have some type of power up. In the realm of Ashura, there are 4 lords called Ashurendra, each with different factions, right? One of the lords is called Rahu, and it states that his body is large like Mount Sumeru. So remember, like back in Dressrosa, before Zoro cut Pika, he said the phrase, "The 9 mountains and the 8 seas constitute one world." The 3 sword style secret technique, billionfold trichiliocosm, referring to the 9 mountains forming Mount Sumeru, and at the center of it, the 8 seas separate them. I would like to see, you know, him possibly having like an Ashura power up, you know, to Ashurendra, and maybe cutting Kaido that way. But, you know, that's more of like agenda based than anything. You know, I don't think that would probably happen, especially since he already used Ashura, you know, early on in the chapter, early on in the raid. But, you know, we just got to see. Zage, man, it's been a pleasure, man. I really appreciate you coming onto my channel, man. You know, I've been a fan of your content for a while now. It's a pleasure, man.
Thank you, man, and, you know, thanks for having me on as well. The pleasure's been all mine, and, you know, good vibes. We had a great discussion, so, you know, I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys subscribe to Zage's channel, like and subscribe this video, and we'll see you next time.